1% of dudes rapping, they ain't nice as me. 98% ain't live the same type of life as me. The judge gave me life and then they sent me where the life is be. That level 4 with depth and vice, the type of stuff they like to see. Two choices, fight or flee. I refuse to die a chump. I never been a mark, but damn, it's scary when that riot jump. I seen dudes cry, get pumped, and some sexually brutalized. Knew a dude who lost his life and he was only doing 5 year-long racial fights when homie all you do is ride. Lonely days and nights up in a hole causing suicide. From the moment you arrive, you see the Mexican mafia, AB skinheads with big giant swastikas, pro-black philosophers, the BGF, the Kumi, and Muslims who will murk you from the nation to the Sunni. That MS was loony, quick to ride up on they rival. Even Christians went to church, hide knives up in a Bible. Political and tribal, the Crips and Damus, the Long Beach, the Hubs and the Dubs and the Grooves, the IE, the Bakersfield, the Dago Pyrus, the hustlers quick to roll, the gangsters don't move. Whatever click you choose, you better
say what's cracking YouTube. It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. Jordan. So once again, by popular demand, we have OG Chances back in the house, man. I've interviewed him a couple of times. I've told some stories about him. I always get plenty of requests to get him back, man. So finally, we got him back on my platform, man. Chances, what's good with you? How you doing?
I'm doing excellent, man. First of all, I'd like to say Asante Sana. Thank you very much to my homeboy Chill for having me on this platform. My name is OG Chances. I'm from the IE, the Inland Empire. The place I call home is San Bernardino. I was born in Buffalo, New York. I moved to California around January of 1975. I was about to turn 15 years old. I was born 1960. I'm 64 years old. I've spent more time in California's prison industrial complex than on the streets.
So let me ask you a question, Chancellor. Let me ask you a question, right? Because I first met you in 2003. We was in Ironwood. And when I first met you, you know, right away I looked at you, man, and I honestly, my honest opinion was, man, when I first seen you, you walked past me. I didn't even know you was a homie. I didn't even know you was from IE, right? And so I said, damn, who is this dude? This dude is extremely serious, man. You just, the way you look serious. And then as I met you, the next day we had a meeting. The homies had a meeting, all the homies, you know, because me and another homie had just pulled up. And so they was introducing us to all the homies, right? And honestly, I said, dang, man, I'm glad this dude is one of the homies, right? And so as I got to know you, I felt that you was an extremist. You was sometimes fanatical about your positioning, right? And so a lot of dudes, I've got a lot of comments when I interview you, people saying, man, that dude is very, very militant. So let me ask you this. Can you explain to us, what do you believe you're an extreme? And if so, what led you to that take no prisoners ideology that you have?
Yes, I am an extremist, and I'm still trying to learn what moderation is. When I was 12 years old, this is what gave me the ideology, which is a no nonsense that I carry today. When I was 12 years old in 1972, I had an older brother who was assassinated by a man of another race, from another race. Like I said, he was a Golden Glove champion. He was my role model. I didn't have a father figure. He was my father figure too.
Your brother was a Golden Glove champion?
He was Golden Glove champion, Western New York's Golden Glove champion. He had hands. He had squabbles. He knew how to square up, right? So, he was my role model, man. I mean, he was doing his road work on the red road tracks. He used to jog the red road track. Doing his road work, his jogging. So one day, him and his homeboys, his little friends, he was 17 years old. They running up and down the tracks. He's doing his road work. And this racist man pulled out a rifle with a scope on it, shot my brother, and killed him. Now, My brother's friends, they went and they told people, the people called the police. So the police went to the railroad tracks to find my brother's body, and they didn't find it. So they thought that this was a prank. The man who killed my brother, he had moved the body, and then he put it back. So one day, I'm out there doing what 12 years old do. I don't know if I'm playing basketball, football, how you go get it, or whatever it was. So they say, man, my brother, they just found my brother on the railroad tracks dead. So I run around there. The whole neighborhood is out there, man. Yellow tape everywhere. So when I try to go up under the tape, the police wouldn't let me go. So me being a youngster, I knew all the apple trees, pear trees, grapevines was at. I knew all the shortcuts. So I went around, I came up on the railroad tracks, and I see my brother laying in a ditch. He's dead. His body's decaying. It's smelling real bad. I didn't start crying because I was shocked. He's laying there, man. I know it's my brother because of the clothes he got on. So I'm standing there, man, and I'm saying, how could my brother let somebody, I'm 12 years old, man. So I'm saying, how can my brother let somebody do this to him? He had squabbles, man. He could chunk him. You know, he had hands, man. How could this happen? So as I'm standing there, man, you know, I couldn't even cry, man. And I made a vow to myself, man, I would never, ever let nobody do to me what my brother let them do to him. Now, I was 12 years old mentality. So now, me and my moms, we go to court. You know, they find, whatever. We go to court for the dude killing my brother. And they found the dude not guilty. Mother cried, watched my mother's in tears, man. Ain't nothing I could do. I'm 12 years old. She's crying, she's breaking down. She's kind of like pushing me away from her, afraid the same thing is going to happen to me. So, man.
So the guy actually had a trial?
He had a trial, man. They ended up catching him and all that. It wasn't. He's the only house over there, but anyway, they caught him. Well, so look, this is what happened. He ends up killing his wife. Then he gets a life sentence, but they didn't give him 1 day for killing my brother, man. So of course I had squabbles because my brother was a champion. He was a boxing champion. So when I was young, I used to squabble. But all the time in my mind, squabbling don't mean nothing. It didn't save my brother's life. So as I got older and I entered into the penitentiary, I stopped squabbling. Still to this day, I don't do no head of fights with nobody. Whatever it is, as men, we ought to be able to talk about it. You put your dick beaters on me, I'm gonna blast you clean out your boots. Your boots will be right here smoking, and you be laid way over there somewhere. That's how hard I'm gonna hit you with that key suit that night. And this, when I was in prison, man, I became a prolific reader, man. And one book that I was introduced to was by Sigmund Freud. He's the founder of psychoanalysis, dealing with dual personalities. Because as I was entering these pens, Pelican Bay, San Quentin, Old Folsom, New Folsom, Corcoran, Old Corcoran, New Corcoran, Avenal, Chief, all this, I wanted to know what made dudes do the things that they did. Because look, when I hit Pelican Bay, in which was the modern day Alcatraz during my era, when it first opened up around 89, every other person on the yard had life, double life without the possibility of parole, plus a couple 100 years. Every other person had a body. When I hit the yard, everybody that was Billy Badass and Johnny Tough Guy in the state of California, they sent them to Pelican Bay. So everybody on the yard was that guy. So I wanted to know what made people do the things that they do. And first of all, through Sigmund Freud, I learned that a person's character, the outline of his character is framed as a child, right? Everything that a person does, they do for a reason, whether they're conscious of it or they're not conscious of it. So I listen to what a person says to get understanding, but I watch as a person's actions because it tells me everything that I need to know.
Now,
if you can, go ahead.
I was gonna say, let me jump in and ask you briefly, right? Going back to the story that you told about your brother, and my condolences, man. And honestly, as you told that story, homie, it touched me, and it's crazy because you've told me that story many times, man. But as you told me that story, it sincerely touched me, man. And so I want to ask you, what was it like those few days or weeks when being at home when your brother wasn't there, not knowing where your brother was? These dudes had come and told you your brother got killed. What was that period like for you, wondering where your brother was?
I was 12 years old, man. I was 12 years old. So when nobody knew where my brother was at, I just figured he was out somewhere. That incident made me numb to death. When it comes to death, I have no feelings at all. Let me brace your awareness to something, man. Look, when you and a couple of homeboys hit the yard, I did my reconnaissance work, so I knew who you was. I knew you was one of the soldiers that made your set what it is today. So I'm the one I called the meeting, so we could give y'all the indoctrination of how we getting down on the yard. And so when you walk up, and along the way, I've been listening to you, and you was always talking about head of spades, man. So I said to myself, man, this dude chill, man. He's a soldier, man. He's a soldier. I like him, man. He's a soldier, but he keep talking this head of spades. And I don't know if you remember, man, one of the first things I said to you, man, is, man, you might want to do a push-up or two, man, because you was a little dude, man. He was about 135 pounds, 145. I'll never forget you say he was about you was about 100. He was a little, but you had squabbles, though. And see, my thing was, man, my brother had squabbles to stop him from being killed, man. So once I started doing my touring, because I entered into the penitentiary around in the late 70s, early 80s. I had a C number. If anybody know about California's prison numbers, they own Z numbers or whatever they own now, they know how far the C number goes back. If you know, you know. If you don't know,
Let me ask you a quick question, right? Say you're in prison on a particular day and you have an incident with an individual and he come up to you and he say, hey, Chances, I want a head of fade. What is your response, inside and out? How do you feel about that?
My response is, I'm going to start laughing. And I'll never laugh in prison, but that's going to be one of the funniest things that I have ever heard. And I'm going to say to myself, I ain't going to say it to him, but I'm going to say to myself, thank you for forewarning me. And you already know the business with me. You already know what I'm going to do. Now, the only way a person will get a straight up fade with me if it's get down when you get mad at. And they better pray to God I ain't got no key sue on me. Because you already know, man. And for those who know. And if you don't know, you don't know. I don't do head of fades, man. I said this on many occasions. I wouldn't care if it was Gary Coleman. I wouldn't care if it was a midget. That's just easy access to me. Because I'm going to blast you clean out your boots, man. I'm going to hit you with that key suit that night. Because if you say you want to head of fade with me, man, that's a declaration of war. You talking about doing bad things to me. So why would I go up in a cell or wherever you want to go to do the fade and give you equal opportunity to whoop my? You talking about body slamming me, banging my head up against the ground, kicking me, giving me doohickeys all upside my head, like Martin when he fought Tommy Hearns. All that, man. We're not doing that, man. Because whatever it is, that's men. Look, I'm not Johnny Tough Guy, and I'm not Billy Badass. And on many occasions, I've got the short end of the stick. But there's quite a few people who cross my path. People end up doing a lot of slow singing and flower bringing.
And let me interject with a question right here, right? Because as I'm listening to you talk, and you mentioned back a little bit, you said, you said I would laugh to myself because I don't do no laughing in prison. And I thought about it. Me and you done a lot of time together, man. And I don't think I can recall seeing you smile or laugh maybe 3 or 4 times, maybe. But like you said, you was extremely serious. I didn't see you laugh or smile often, man. Me and you were cellies in the hole after we had got into a riot in Ironwood. And I was telling you about, I was showing you my little jab that I had, and I was telling you about this headlock that I would put people in sometimes if we got to fighting and wrestling. And you surprised the hell out of me. You said, hey man, show me that headlock. And I said, are you serious? You said, yeah, man, show me how you do it. Put me in it. And I said, because I had never seen you physically let anybody put their hands on you. And that was surprising. That was surprising to me. Do you remember that?
I remember exactly. Because I don't let nobody put their dick beaters on me, man. But you were so adamant in what you said, and I trusted you. And me and you was up in that cell, and you told me you had a headlock that a motherfucker couldn't get out of. A headlock. And you seen how big I was, and right. I seen how small you was. So, so yeah, I did that, yeah. And I've never forgot it, and to this day I've mastered it.
Have you put it on a few people?
Quite a few.
Yeah, man. So let me ask you this, man. You had told me that when a person does, come talking about he wants to do this or he wants to do that to you, you make preemptive strikes.
My thing is this, man. If you say you want to do something to me, that's a declaration of war. So I've learned that, man. We already know proper preparation prevents poor performance. And if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. And I don't have many deterrents. Let's say there's 5 of us and there's 20 of them. It's 5 of us and there's 20 of them. And I'm always facts over feelings with critical thinking, man. So now a person working out of their feelings gonna say, man, we don't stand a chance. There's 20 of us. This is a fact. This is a fact. Numbers is not the authoritative definitive on who's gonna win a battle. But it's a fact to be considered. So now, let's use a handicap. It's called a preemptive strike. This is what a preemptive strike is. Let's say I hit a yard, and I see this dude running around. He's bullying folks. He's beating dudes up. He got squabbles. He's that guy on the yard. Now, me and this dude ain't never had no words, no nothing. And if I perceive and discern that me and this dude is going to get into it before we have any before we have any bad interactions, I would just take off on him. Why did OG Chance that? Why did OG Chance do that? Because look, see, I'm a very scary person. I spook real easy. Boom, you can spook me. And if I get scared, I'll reiterate, there's going to be a lot of slow singing and flower bringing because I'm a very scary person. I'm easy to spook. Now, you got this thing called fight or fight when a person gets scared. A lot of people run. I fight. I'm too scared to run. I fight. For example, Every person that ever gets seen, when somebody pull out a knife, they run. Every person ever seen that ran from a knife, from a key suit, ended up getting stabbed up because they was too busy trying to get away. If somebody pulls out a knife, you attack that knife. You let them, and you make them feel you. You put doubts in their mind, but they say to themselves, you know, right? They say to themselves.
So you told me about a time when you was in Pelican Bay and you had a next door neighbor who was housed next to you, and he was Hispanic. And you said just through his conversations, you could tell this guy was a serious individual. And just by the way he spoke at times, I believe you told me you was young, and by the way he spoke at times.
This was in I think it was either Folsom or it was either in San Quentin in the AC unit. I know exactly what you're talking about. This dude, I'm not gonna say his name. Well known, man. Well known. Before I hit there, I knew who he was. Then I finally met him. He was in the cell right next to me, man. And we used to talk, you know. And this dude, man, was very disciplined, man, very structured. And he had homeboys sending him stuff from everywhere. It was constantly hitting the cell. But he used to talk to me, man. I was a youngster, young rider, and we started politicking a little bit. At the time, I really didn't know too much about politics, but I knew what was on my mind. And I'm saying something to him about underlings that was his people, Mexicans from the South. And I said to him, I talked to him. And you know, first of all, the dude spooked me, man, because it wasn't his size, it wasn't bodies that I heard he had, none of that. This is what spooked me about the dude. When he would walk by my cell, they was taking him to wherever he was going. I was doing a shoe turn, but anyway, look, he would say, his eyes, man, his eyes was cold. And he talked it very light, man. He never raised his voice. He just talked very nice, very respectful. So one day I'm talking kind of, getting kind of loose out the mouth, talking about, what I wanted to do. And this is what he said to me. I'll paraphrase in my own words. He said, "Say, Holmes, I understand." I use my words. I understand what you're saying. I comprehend how you feel. But if I was you, Holmes, I wouldn't do it. And that's all he said. And I tried to continue with the conversation. Now, he had said what he said, and he didn't say it no more. And I don't have deterrence. But I'm going to tell you something, man. The way that dude put that to me, I didn't follow through what I wanted to follow through and do.
And listen, when you said what he said to you, your voice got real low. Can you repeat it a little louder? I couldn't quite hear you.
I'm telling you, this is how he said it. This is how, the way I'm talking right now. This is what he said to me. This is why this is why my voice got low. This is what he said it. He said, "Say, Holmes, basically, I comprehend how you feel. I comprehend what you just said. But if I was you, Holmes, I wouldn't do it."
Oh, okay.
And I tried to keep talking, but he didn't say no. That's what he said, And I didn't follow through, man.
Right.
Because I got the message loud and clear. I got, there was a couple of incidents with dudes, first of all, much respect to the Southern Mexicans, Northern Mexicans, and the Woodpile. Because the Mexicans and the Woodpile, I have much respect for their structures, the discipline and the structure. And I'll reiterate, even though there was quite a bit of them individuals who I didn't like. And I was in many wars, many battles in the war. And I won some, I lost some. Sometimes I got the short end of the stick. And you know, it is what it is. Man. It is what it is. You know, see, Mao Zedong wrote a book called Guerrilla Warfare. Sun Tzu wrote a book called The Art of War. And in these books, it said that anytime a scurry, a soldier, anytime a Bomani, a warrior, loses a fight, is his fault because he didn't do what it takes to win. So anytime I got the short end of the stick, man, I realized that I didn't do what it took to win. And a lot of times what it took for me to win was to make preemptive strikes. A lot of times what it took for me to win is not to give a head or fade. Because once we make that declaration of war, or once I know there's going to be war, I'm going to get me a key suit. And that's already said, and I always say, I'm going to blast them clean out their boots. I'm going to hit them so hard with that suit, man. But anyway, let's move forward. Yes, sir.
And so, you know, for people out there who may be hearing this interview and they are still not comprehending why you chose to use a weapon as opposed to use your fist, can you explain a little bit the hostilities, the racial hostilities that was going on when you first hit prison between the Mexicans and the blacks?
Okay, let me start here, man. The blacks, the whites, we don't socialize in any shape, form, or fashion. At least during my era. Basically, the woodpile, which they call themselves, which was the ABs, Nazi lowriders, and all this, the skinheads, and the Southern Mexicans, they were allies. And a lot of Askaris, soldiers, Kiwis, and Damus of my era, even though we was look at the Northanians and see they was Mexicans, there was a difference. And a lot of us aligned ourselves with the Northanians. I don't know what's going on now. And even though when I first, late 70s, early 80s, the Kiwis and the Damus was going at it on site. Then as years started going by, Kiwis and Damus stopped going at it like that in prison. Not saying they became friends, but we stopped going at it because, you know, we looked at, first of all, you had the NJ raids, the police, you know, the officers, the overseers, they was against us. You had the white boys, they was against us. You had the Mexicans, they was against us. Then you had different sections, sects, organizations, cadres that was against each other. So we was outnumbered. You know, Niccolo Machiavelli wrote in the book called The Prince, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. He said that if you can put two oppositions in a boat in the middle of the ocean, if the boat has a hole and then the boat is sinking, these two oppositions, these two enemies will work together to make sure they don't drown, to get to land. Now, what happens after they get to land? Who knows? But they will work together. So with this ideology in my mind, I started using it. Just like, you know, I'm not going to go into IE politics because that's IE business. I don't go into IE politics. I'll reiterate, that's IE business. But nevertheless, You know, me, well, a lot of us, the majority of us, you know, you know, in San Bernardino, originally from the projects. Crip. You have Damoos, Bloods. When we come to prison, we put the blue rag and the red rag on the shelf, and we pick up the black rag, which is when you put the blue and the red together, it forms a black rag. Because remember, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And that's, I won't go into no more of IE politics.
Let me ask you a question here. You said that when you first hit the pen, the Crips and the Bloods were at it on site. So if the Crips were on the yard and a Blood hit the yard, he immediately would be rushed and they would try to run him off the yard?
They would, yeah, they definitely would try, man. But I'm gonna tell you something, man. I look at the Bloods. Shout out to the Bloods, the Keyways, and the Diamonds of LA. The Crips and the Bloods. But shout out to them, straight up soldiers, man, with the business. But I'm gonna tell you something, man. The Diamonds, the Bloods, man, those dudes are straight up soldiers, man, with the business, man. Them dudes ain't hit the pen and PC up. Them dudes hit the Lord. And they was about that business, man. They was handling their business. Straight like that. And they was outnumbered 10-1, man. At least 10-1. Yeah. With the business though, man. With the business. Yes, sir. So much, much respect for the Mascaris, man, and Bomanis, the soldiers, the warriors. Yes, sir.
And so let me ask you a question. You've done a lot of time. Throughout all the time that you've done, who do you think are some of the deadliest individuals that you encountered personally?
Okay, I'm going to give you three. And there's a black one, there's a Southern Mexican, and there's a white one. And this is why I say these three. First of all, the majority of yards I hit, and the people that was on the yard, everybody was about the business. Everybody was about the business. Everybody was about the business, And if they bring the noise, they bring the noise. So, but when I give you these three, and I'm not talking about their reputation, because a lot of them, everybody had reputations. These three, I say these three is from incidents that they were accused of allegedly doing. The first one is Hoover lying. Straight up with the businessman, nothing to play with. He caught a 187 in prison. He was accused of allegedly taking somebody's breath. There was another one that in Cucamonga, he was a Sereno in Cucamonga. Back then, it was the new IE County Jail, not the old one in San Bernardino, and the one in Cucamonga. Me, Big Lala, I remember Big Lala from East Coast, I think from 6 dudes, a couple other ones. We get into it with the IE Mexicans. They moved another Sereno. I'm not going to say this dude's name, but they moved him in a cell, and his IE Mexican, the police come to the door, the dude is dead. The dude that they moved in the cell with him. They cut a hole in his throat and all that, trying to get him everything. He ended up dying. Before I move on to the third, let me tell you about the incident with this dude. Like I said, me, Big Lala, and all of them, we into it, we into it with these dudes. Anyway, man, one day I come back from court. Now, this dude who caught the 187 on his celly, he's in the whole tank, man. So I see the dude, see me through the window. Oh, big thing, let's make this shit happen. When I go up in there, this dude ain't got no handcuffs on, man. And they got this box on me, man. You know, this box. Because, you know, a lot of people had handcuff keys. Like Big Lala, they had handcuff keys. So they put this box, certain people, they put the box on. They put this box on, they turn it. So anyway, this is the first time I see this box. So they got the box. I'm up in here, man. I'm sitting up in here. Now I go in the tank. It's about, let me see, Moji, I can Billy, Tattoo, NA Time. It's about 5 Southern Mexicans. About 3 white boys and 1 black in this whole tank, man. So they put me up in there, man. I go up in there. I see dudes. Dudes looking at me. I just know it's gonna happen. But when I look, this dude ain't got no handcuffs on, man. And man, my feet is shackled. My hands are shackled. Not only is my hands shackled, it got them boxes on. I don't know if you ever seen one of the boxes, but they got these boxes they put over the case, so if you do have a cuff, you can't take it off. So I sit down. I'm sitting next to this brother. I say, man, I know they finna tear my ass up. Now, I could holler out the door and holler to the police, but then that would make me a buster, and that would make me a man. And one of my worst nightmares was to be labeled a buster. And also, I was a damn fool, I guess. Anyway, look, man, whatever it is, I said, man, they're going to do bad things to me. But I'm going to do the best I can do. So now, but I'm trying not to look at the dude. But I'm seeing by my peripheral vision, he got the laser beam on me. Bam. He's just looking at me. And I really think he's going to get me because some things happened. And I was accused, allegedly, of being one of the major people that participated, but nevertheless. Anyway, dude didn't rush me, man. He didn't do nothing, man. You talking about sweating, man? My clothes were soaking wet with sweat, right? But see, I said, man, what if it would have been me and it would have been him in handcuffs, I would have rushed him. I'd have did bad things to him. But he gave me a pass. And I think the reason that he gave me a pass was because he was already just caught this murder case. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, so, you know. Oh yeah, and okay, then the third, okay, I told you about Hoover Line, I told you about the Mexican, and then the white boy was Mountain. There was one called Mountain. I don't know if he was a Nazi. I don't know if he was a Nazi lawyer. I don't know if he was whatever he was. But I know he's with the woodpile. He's the one who was accused, allegedly, of killing the brother up in Susanville. Them 3 right there. And like I said, not going on reputations and all that, because you had dudes on the yard who had hella reps, man. You know, had hella reps, you know, all that, you know. Yeah. Just like you see some of the smartest people, the most intelligent people that you ever meet in life in prison, man. And 2 of the most intelligent that I met was a dude called Ruchell McGee. And Ruchell McGee, please correct me if I'm wrong. You know, I suffer from short-term, long-term memory loss. So chronological orders and stuff like that, I'm kind of bad with. You know, I've been in quite a few altercations and hit upside my head so many times. You know, but nevertheless, I'm Rochelle McGee. And if anybody know who Jonathan Jackson was and George Jackson, if you know, you know. If you don't know, then you don't know. They say he was a J-Cat. And he walked around like a J-Cat. But when you talk to him, he was sharp as a tack. And when it came to law, he was better than any lawyer that I ever met. And the other dude was a dude they called 5T. 5T had been in the shoe since around 85, 75 to 75. Around there. 5T, he was Kenny Carter. Kenny Carter, his brother was Bunchy Carter. Bunchy Carter was killed at the UCLA college, whatever, by the US organization with Ron Karinga in them. Bunchy Carter was the Black Panther. They say that Fatih Kenny Curry was allegedly or accused of being a shot caller for the BGF.
90% of dudes rapping, they ain't nice as me. 98% ain't live the same type of life as me. The judge gave me life and then they sent me where the life is be. That level 4 with depth and vice, the type of stuff they like to see. Two choices, fight or flee. I refuse to die a chump. I never been a mark, but damn, it's scary when that riot jump. I seen dudes cry, get pumped, and some sexually brutalized. Knew a dude who lost his life and he was only doing 5 year-long racial fights when homie all you do is ride. Lonely days and nights up in a hole causing suicide. From the moment you arrive, you see the Mexican mafia, AB skinheads with big giant swastikas, pro-black philosophers, the BGF, the Kumi, and Muslims who will murk you from the nation to the Sunni. That MS was loony, quick to ride up on they rival. Even Christians went to church, hide knives up in a Bible. Political and tribal, the Crips and Damus, the Long Beach, the Hubs and the Dubs and the Grooves, the IE, the Bakersfield, the Dago Pyrus, the hustlers quick to roll, the gangsters don't move. Whatever clique you choose.